What is up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be talking about growing your restoration company, specifically about growing your team. Guys, in the early days, it may just be you, but by year 1 or year 2, you might have 5, 6, 8, 10 people working for you. In this video, I'm going to share with you what are their titles, what are their roles, what is it that they do. You're going to have pain as you grow your company. We're going to talk about the various roles that you're going to hire to fix all of that pain. If you stick around to the end of the video, I'll also share with you the order of operations in which you probably are going to want to address this pain. Basically, if you own a restoration company, you don't want to miss this. Let's go. So before we get started, I want to say this. Your first few hires are going to be pretty simple in terms of like, you know what you need to do. The bigger your company gets, your pain may be over here or over here or over there. It's going to vary, okay? I'm saying this to you because as I share my screen and we talk about these roles and responsibilities, if 10 of you watch this video, each one of you are going to be a little bit different on how you organize things. This is going to be what we did at my company, and at least as we did it for a while. What do I mean by doing it for a while? Because things change over the years. You might add service offerings, you might remove service offerings. As you do that, it's going to affect your org chart and what those people do. Some roles may get consolidated, some may get eliminated. Does that make sense? But in this video, I'm gonna share with you what are the things that you're gonna need to do from $0 to $1 million and then to $2 million, okay? So just be aware of that, right? You may not have some of these positions, but these are still gonna be roles. These roles may be absorbed by other people. You'll see as we get in there. Let's talk a little about what you need. So if you notice here, I've just got position - office manager. This is what you need defined for your roles, okay? So you need to have, what is the role? What is the description of the role? What are the objectives of the role? What are the key results, primary responsibilities, secondary responsibilities, etc. You wanna have this stuff spelled out and clear, because I just got news for you. Like, they're not gonna know what they need to do if you don't tell them. And if it's your company and you don't tell them, like, they're just gonna walk around like, what you want me to do, boss? I guess that's okay in some degree. Like, you want them to be flexible, but I'm just telling you, they like a little guidance. Everybody likes to have, I don't wanna say the freedom, they just wanna have the confidence to know what their job is so they can go execute it with confidence. Does that make sense? So when you hire somebody on, you need to have a description, you need to have some objectives, like why are you hiring them? What do they need to do? What are the key results? Results is winning. What does winning look like, okay? If you don't know what winning looks like, then you can't have an objective. An objective is a goal, and key results is what do you need to do to achieve that objective. Don't worry, I'll show you in a minute what this will look like for like a project manager, okay? Primary responsibilities, secondary responsibilities. When you hire somebody, you're hiring them for this, okay? This is what they're here to do. But you also don't want to be so rigid that they don't have to do anything else, they can't do anything else. They're going to be hired to do this, but their job is to help you, okay? So you want to tell them what their primary things will be, right? But like, you're not going to have your office manager out there slinging dehumidifiers, okay? Like, you're not going to do that, but you might have them help answer the phones after hours for on-call. So primary responsibility is this, secondary responsibility is that. I just don't think you're going to be upset by having this thought out. And then I put reports to who, just because at some point, the bigger you get, that'll be more important, all right? And let's take a look at, there's just a few different roles. You'll have a mitigation manager, project manager, lead technician, and then a technician or a junior technician, an estimator, a coordinator, and then we'll go over the hiring order in just a minute. But basically, your company, you're going to have a truck, and you're going to have some people in that truck. So the truck is going to be, right, you know, what does the work, and it's going to have a couple technicians in it. They may be lead techs, they may be junior techs. Does that make sense? We're going to cover all of that in the hiring order. Your project manager is going to be designed to oversee everything those trucks are doing. Does that make sense? So we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail as we get. Let's go over to the project manager and we'll take a look at objectives, key results, primary and secondary responsibilities, okay? The objective, this is for your project manager. And this is what we had in my company, okay? I may have a better definition at this point. Literally, I'm going through this on the fly as we record it, okay? Their objective is to sell and close the job, act as a point contact for the customer, the crew, keep the jobs on the tracks, put the jobs back on the tracks, do not let the job get to a supervisor. Man, this is a really good one. Here's what I mean by the project manager. Just define project manager real quick. You have a project, that's a job, and he has to manage it. I'm just saying this to you because this is so important. Most people, they don't have a project manager and they think they have a project manager. They barely have a lead technician and they're trying to call them a project manager. Here's a project manager, bro. If something goes sideways, can that dude fix it? End to end, from the estimate, the whole 9 yards. And that's where we'll get back into the estimator in just a minute. I had an estimator there because we did have somebody handling estimating. And that's all that they did. But over the years, then we wound up taking the estimating out of its own position and having the project manager run the estimates. Various reasons why, but we'll go over those two different things, because there might be a situation that you have the estimating standing on its own. There might be a situation where the project manager does it himself. Either way, the project manager can still be responsible for the estimating, even if he doesn't do the estimating. Why? How does that work? Because the mitigation manager or the general manager is going to be responsible for multiple project managers. He's responsible for everything. Does that make sense? So this is just going to be how you nest your company, if you will. So just know this, you need to have some objectives, and this is what they're going to be. They need to sell and close the job. They're going to be the primary point of contact. Their job is to make sure nothing goes wrong. And if it does go wrong, they got to be able to make it right. That's a project manager. If your project manager has to come to you saying, hey boss, what do? I got a problem. That ain't a project manager. That is not a project manager. Project manager keeps it from coming to you. Okay. If they can't do that, they're not a project manager yet. I'm just telling you, you don't want them to have to bring you boo-boos, because they're going to always bring you boo-boos. And then you're the actual manager. And my guess is you want to have your team do this for you, right? So just follow me here, okay? So what are key results here? So let's see if we can break some of this down. Okay, now, and these may not be completely accurate, okay? Closing percentage of 80%, customer satisfaction, sign the quality reconstruction jobs. I mean, that's kind of what we did, okay? So key results, what are the areas that they need to pay attention to? And what are the metrics? Closing percentage 80%, like this is pretty good. I'll tell you this, guys, over the years, I've gotten a lot better at this. Even my coaching and consulting business, my software company, like we've gotten better at having core numbers and core goals. Right now, we're peeking back at my restoration company from a decade ago. Does that make sense? I've learned a lot since as well, but you can still kind of see what you need. Does that make sense? They need to have some objectives, and they need to know what their numbers need to be. What are their targets? Keep the customer happy, sign the quality reconstruction jobs, and closing percentage 80%. Primary responsibilities: qualify and close the job, perform inspections. So like these are just examples for the project manager. Does that make sense? This is what they're going to do. Write the estimates. Maybe they'll write it, maybe they don't, but they're still going to oversee it. And that doesn't mean that your project manager has to do this. What it means is that you have to define what your project manager does. I'm gonna say that again. What you're looking at does not mean that your project manager has to do this, but somebody has to do these things, right? Who does those? You don't have to do it this way, but you need to be able to state what your project manager's roles are. In other words, I don't care if your project manager writes the estimate or not, okay? That doesn't matter to me. You can use a third party. But just know this, whatever you want him to do, whatever you want her to do, it needs to be clearly spelled out for them. Does that make sense? And I'll tell you this, just a bit of advice. Keep it flexible, because your company's going to grow over the years. It's going to shrink, it's going to grow, all those things are going to happen, things are going to change. You want to keep it modular and mobile, okay? Don't make them think that once they get this promotion that they don't ever have to go back down. That's a sense of entitlement. You don't want that. Does that make sense? Don't want to do that. So you'll have primary responsibilities, whatever they are. I don't care if it's these, they just need to have some primary responsibilities. Now, the other thing is they're going to have some secondary responsibilities. Perform the role of the lead tech or the role of the estimator, and who they report to, the mitigation manager or the owner. In many cases, the project manager is you, the owner, for a while, but once you hire a project manager, what are they going to be doing for you? That's what this is. So let's take a look at real quick, maybe some of the lead technicians. So you'll be able to see how some of these things will vary a little bit. Make sure we get 5-star Google reviews, make sure the contracts are signed, perform all the work, secondary, update timesheets, keep up with your vehicle maintenance, etc. Like we had a bunch of checklists that we put together. And if y'all want more of this stuff, put a comment down in the video somewhere, and we'll go over that stuff. Okay, but these are examples of what some of the primary and secondaries were. So here's another one, warehouse, right? So this is a good example. Our mitigation manager, the difference of a mitigation manager and project manager is they have primary responsibilities, oversee all aspects of the job. So they have job level stuff, and they have like direct ownership, managerial stuff, adjuster relations. Hopefully this is helpful to where you can see the degree in which we put all this stuff together. But to go back to really what you need more than anything else, primary responsibilities, secondary responsibilities. That's what you need. You need to define it, okay? You need to define it. And then when to hire some of these things, at or near $1 million, that'll be for a mitigation manager. So anyway, that'll handle that piece. Everybody needs to have a clear map of what it is that they're going to do, okay? Now hopefully that's helpful for you. So now let's take a look at the hiring order, if you will. As you go to grow your company, I'm just gonna say this. Let's pretend that it's just you in year one. You're gonna have you, the owner. That's it, okay? That's gonna be you, that's it. Then your first hire is going to need to be a technician, and you're gonna need to put him in a truck because he can't walk to work, okay? Or you can take him to the job, but eventually you're gonna need a truck. So Owner is number 1, lead tech and truck 1 is going to be your second, okay? And then you're going to have lead tech 2, and then you're going to have a second truck, okay? Now, I will tell you this. The reason why I would have 2 lead techs is because what's a lead tech going to cost you? 20 to 40 bucks an hour? I mean, some markets pay less, right? But like typically between $25 and $35 an hour for a good lead technician that knows what he's doing. If you're paying a lead technician 25 bucks an hour, what are you paying a junior tech? You know what I'm saying? You're probably gonna pay him 18 bucks an hour anyway. So for an extra $6 or $7 an hour, you get a professional set of thumbs that can do twice as good of a job. So I would just hire 2 lead technicians in the beginning. Both of my technician hires are both gonna be leads if I can help it. Now, why do you get 2 trucks? Eventually you're gonna take each truck to each loss. You will take 2 trucks to every loss. Why? Because eventually once you start getting more jobs, you're gonna need to peel one of those guys off and go start the other job. You ain't gonna have them walk home, are you? So that's the deal. Lead tech 1, truck 1. Lead tech 2, truck 2. And then your job is to keep those guys moving, okay? Now, once you've got these guys right here, as you've heard from me, guys, I teach the 1-3-6 method, okay? Get 1 job a week, hire a dude. Then go straight to 3 jobs a week. That's all you need to worry about. I'm not worried about software, all this other crap. 3 jobs a week, baby. 3 jobs a week. You can go to workwithshane.com, put in your information, take our 30-day test drive, and I will show you everything that you need to do to get 3 jobs a week, okay? I'll show you what you need to do to get there. And so why do I say all of this? Because that's going to be your very first hurdle, is getting 3 jobs a week. One dude can do 3 jobs a week. You're going to be doing 1 job a week right here. And by the time you get this guy right here, you want to get him to 3 jobs a week. And then as soon as he starts to get tired, you're bringing in the second dude. Now, once you've got 3 jobs a week coming in, then we teach you as part of the 1-3-6 method, get 1 job a week, 3 jobs a week, and then get your average job over $6,000 a job. Because 6 times 3 is 18, 18 times 52 is $936,000 per year with 1 truck, okay? That's what we teach. So you should be somewhere around $1 million with what? 2 technicians. At this point, you're doing those jobs. The next hire that I'm going to tell you after that is probably going to be a coordinator. It's probably going to be a coordinator. What does a coordinator do? Helps you with your back office admin stuff, okay? Y'all want to see that? Let's go over and take a look at the coordinator real quick. The coordinator stuff, and I don't know how completely accurate this is at the moment right now, to aid and assist with administrative communication stuff on matters of the job, okay? It's basically like your office manager, if you will. Converting calls to booked appointments, clear communication from your customer or your company, keep your accounts receivables under 30 days. Like they're basically gonna be following up. That's what they're gonna be doing for you. Primary responsibilities, answering the phones. I don't even know what I've said for secondary. Perform the dispatch role. Coordinator is gonna help to fill all that stuff for you. When do you hire them? Between 500,000 and $1 million. Before you hire them, and I put this too, owner, lead tech 1, lead tech 2, coordinator. That's kind of how that works, okay? Like once you've got 2 technicians and you got 3 jobs a week, I got news for you, homie. You're starting to get backed up on the admin. Your receivables are going to be a bottleneck, and that's when you're going to bring this person in. But like that's the reason why we try to teach you guys to get to $1 million, because you're going to need some help, right? You're going to need some help. It's not easy to do all this stuff once you get them there. It's not going to be easy to carve out these responsibilities. You're going to need some software so you can know where all communications are and how they're working, okay? So the pain before you, the coordinator, this is going to be it. This is pretty relevant. So what is the pain that you're going to be experiencing before you have a coordinator? Fielding phone calls. Inbound phone calls, you're always taking them. Returning phone calls to clients or adjusters or whatever else, like that's going to be an issue as well. So if you're getting 3 to 4 jobs a week, you're always on the phone as an owner, okay? And you can't miss that stuff, okay? So you're going to need them to help you out with that. Admin follow-up, receivables, etc. Those are really important because cash will become an issue for you, okay? And then internal, your coordinator will help you communicate with your own staff. Like you can talk to Cindy or Eric, your coordinator right there. And I've had both guys and girls perform my coordinator role. Doesn't really matter. Or they may wind up helping you with dispatch. And dispatch is going to be like, eventually once you're getting jobs coming in, they're going to field the call and they're going to book the appointment. Project manager's going to call, and I'll go over this in another video, okay? Like the whole workflow from phone call in. But like the coordinator is going to help facilitate all of those various parts and pieces. It's a very, very helpful position to have, but you got to know what it is that they do. And you have to have a few systems in place before this will work. Does that make sense? We were over $1 million, I think, probably before we got one. And man, it was a dang mess too. It was a mess. So growth is not easy, guys. Growth is not easy. Let's get back to the hiring order. Owner, lead tech 1, truck 1, lead tech 2, truck 2, coordinator, And then the junior tech. What does the junior tech do? Once you're getting over your 3 jobs a week, or you've already got your 2 trucks, once you've got your coordinator there, you might want to go ahead and get another junior tech. It depends on your workload. Your junior tech will be the one that's always on the job getting the demo done. If you're tearing out a shower, junior tech is going to be the one doing most of that heavy lifting, or much of it. I don't know how to say it another way. Whoever's got the harder work that day, the junior tech is in that truck. The other lead technician may be doing whatever else. Whoever's doing the hardest work gets the junior technician. Okay. And then ultimately a project manager. As you're looking at this hiring order here right now, you can make this work at $1 million to $2 million, any one of those. Okay. Just think about this for a second. Right now, we're looking at 5 people on staff. 5 people on staff. And this right here, it could probably almost get you to $2 million mitigation, right? With that number of people right there, if you do it right. Your project manager will be writing your estimates for you. Okay. But I'm just telling you, like, look at that, man. Look at that. That is dreamy, bro. That is dreamy. $2 million, like less than 8 people. And like, that's what I want you to be able to do. But in order to be able to do that, you got to be getting good water jobs. Hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully this is helpful. If it's not, let me know. If it is helpful and you want more, drop a comment, let me know. If you guys want more videos going over more of these roles here, let me know and I'll go through and build some of those out a little more, okay? Hey guys, if you enjoyed that video, I've got 3 things for you. Number 1, if you haven't yet, click on my face below and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Okay, we put out new content each and every week. Also, if you want me to help you grow your company, go to workwithshane.com. Workwithshane.com, put in your information, we can get on a call and see how we can help you grow your company. Lastly, there'll be some other videos right here. If you want to watch more content about growing your restoration company, check out one of these videos. We'll see you guys on the next one.